Hey guys, I'm Boot. We're in New Jersey, and today we're going to talk about the MyBlu pod system. So basically, this thing I got from my mom probably about 2 weeks ago. It came with a gold leaf 24 milligram flavor, which I didn't like right out of the gate. I emptied out the pod, refilled it with some Nick salt juice I had, and vaped on it, and it was pretty decent. Then ran out of the juice, and somebody gave me another one which already had a gold leaf and cherry that they picked up, and they didn't really like it either. It's a proprietary nicotine flavoring that is just not very palatable at first, but after you vape it, it's kind of like booze. After a couple shots, you don't taste it at all. So basically, I tasted the gold leaf, which comes with it, and I've tasted the cherry. I didn't like the cherry so much, but the gold leaf is a very nice tobacco flavor once you get past that proprietary funky taste. It's a 24 milligram or 2.4% nicotine. Let's dive into the kit, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Hey guys, so we got the MyBlu pod system here. I got this for $1 at Walgreens, and went in there and I actually bought like every one they had in there, which was like 5 or 6 of them. The thing of it is, I'll show you here. So you've got this, it has the, of course, this product contains nicotine is an active chemical, blah, blah, blah. But aside from that BS, let's go ahead and open it up. There's a seal here. Okay, there we go. All right, whatever. Seal's off. Now, it pops out the side here like this, opens like this. Now you've got, of course, a user manual with a bunch of stuff in here. This basically tells you some of the info about it, how to use it, how to charge it, automatic safety shutdowns, short circuit protection, FCC notices, blah, blah, blah. And then on the other side, it has warnings, caution statements, and registration. According to my Google Foo, on the website, there is a lifetime warranty on these things if you register them, which is really something different. That's that. But if you're a if you're a newbie, definitely go through this and learn what you can. They give you a code to register or redeem this code, which if anybody wants to go ahead and use this one, I don't really care. I probably won't use it. So in the box, you've got your blue, which I'm surprised it was actually upside down, battery here. And one of the things I like about this battery is it's not a proprietary connection. It's that same cell phone USB type B connection that all cell phone chargers use, unless you have an iPhone. I'm sorry about that, but you guys are ridiculous with your weird connectors. And this thing charges up in about 20 to 25 minutes on a 2 amp charger, sometimes a little longer, maybe closer to a half an hour on a 1.5 amp charger. So take that into account. Then you get a pod, which is in a nice little plastic here. The pods are smoky. I want to say it's like polypropylene or something like that, or not polypropylene. If anybody could think of what it's called, it's a plastic. It's usually a tank that can be cracked by some juices, but not in this case. It's a little thicker, a little more resilient, and I'll get into that. But this is a gold leaf pod, 2.4% or 24 milligram nicotine, and we'll put that off to the side because I will enjoy that later. Inside here you have a charging cable, which they have a nice little branded, decently sized charging cable. I'm just gonna rip it open. When in doubt, just tear it apart. There we go. All right, let's get this box out of the way. So you have this nifty charging cable, which is a little bit on the longer side, which is a plus, and it's nicely branded with the blue logo there. It doesn't light up or anything like that. These things are like a dime a dozen. I'm sure everybody's got a bunch of them laying around. Again, Type B, USB connector, and USB. That's for charging. Now, let's toss that off to the side. So basically, you've got your battery. This battery, right out of the package, I'd say it comes charged. I don't know if it's entirely fully charged or not, but I'm going to put this one off to the side. And I want to talk a little bit about this. So this battery is a little bit of a mystery. There's no info online about it. There's no info for the milliamp hour or the voltage of it. And of course, the pods just pop in and out. I don't know if you could see these little divots on the side, but this is how the pod locks into the casing. It hits the little divot and it locks it into place. Now, this is one I'm using right now. This has Naked 100's Green Blast in it, and I'm about that far down. So one of the weird things about these pods is you see that airflow tube in the middle there. Now there's a little bit of a weird little window here, and the window only goes to right here. So when you're about halfway through the pod, you can't even see that you have juice anymore. As you can see, when you go ahead and put it in, it clicks in and there's a little window. Now you could see your juice level only until it gets about halfway down, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it doesn't really bother me that much because throughout the day I pop it out and I check it. On the bottom here, you can see the two connections for positive and negative. On the inside of here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there are two little terminals, and there's a kind of a gasket down at the bottom for air. I guess that's to stiffen up the airflow a little bit, because this device does have a very light draw. It's not insanely light like the tight lung inhale draw. So you could probably put a lower milligram nicotine juice in here and lung inhale on it, but then again you miss the benefits of using like a higher nicotine juice for the pod system, saving that juice, not going through like gallons and gallons of juice, and battery life on this. Now when you mouth to lung inhale on this, these batteries have tended to last me about 8 hours, sometimes a little more if I'm not vaping as much, but I'm a chain vapor, and so that's just the thing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to break down one of these pods and show you how to take it apart, how to rewick it, and how to refill it. And let's get to that. So what you're going to need for this is, of course, you're going to need your pod. You're going to need a pair of tweezers. You're going to need a pair of scissors. And you're going to need a little bit of cotton. Now I don't normally just keep cotton laying around, but this is the piece of cotton I'm going to be using for the wick, and I'll cut that and show you in a minute. Okay, what we're going to do is, on the pod there is a little tab right here. There's a tiny little tab on each side that holds in this base. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick this little edge of the tweezer into here, and I'm just going to put my finger there because, as you can see, sometimes it pops off and flies around. So here is where your coil and your wick is, and as you can see, there's the wick right there. The coil is a little dark, but it's nothing I can't work with. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the edge of the wick, and I'm just going to pull it out very carefully, not to disturb that coil too much, and just twist, and keep pulling, boom, there we go. The wick is now out. As you can see, this wick is a little dark, it's a little burnt, but it's okay. Now, if you wanted to go a step further and put the pod back together at this point, stick it into the vape and dry burn it without any cotton in it, that would be okay. Just mind the protection where it cuts off, just to dry burn out the coil and get it cleaned up a little bit if you wanted to do that, but I'm not going to go that far. Now what you do is, see there's a little rubber piece inside there. You're going to need your tweezers again and just grab a hold of it. I'm just going to pull it on out. There we go. So of course you can see there's little nubs on each side, and what those nubs do is they line up with the little sides of here. So as you can see, there's the little nubs, and it just clicks in together very nicely. It's not really as much of a pain in the ass as it was to get in the Marlboro ones. This one is a little bit easier of a fill. So I'm just going to take that apart though, because I'm going to rewick this real quick. So I'm going to put this little piece aside. Do not lose it, as with the other one. Do not lose it. So I'm going to put that down. I'm just going to roll my cotton a little bit. I want to make it nice and thin. Just real thin on one side, because you have to slide it through that little tiny coil. A little bit shaky, so bear with me. Trying to get it inside the coil, and it is just a nightmare. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I slipped it through the coil and it came out the other side, but now I'm just going to pull it through until it gets a little tight. Give it a little bit of a twist. Just kind of twist it. Sorry if I'm getting a little blurry here. My camera's focus kind of stinks. There we go, that's a little better. So we'll just pull it through a little bit so that the other side is a little bit of fluff right there. That's fine with me. And a little bit of fluff on this side. So I'm just going to take my scissors at this point, and I'm just going to snip off good amount on this side. There we go, just to leave some cotton on both sides. Now, if I'm gonna put this in the tank, I want it to be juiced up. I'm actually going to trim a little bit more of this wick off because I don't want a lot of wick sticking out of the sides. I don't want it to get caught. Let's go ahead and trim a little bit more off, just a little bit. I'm just gonna set it to rest in that channel. Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to make sure that the wick is resting in the channel very nicely. We don't want a nasty dry hit. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to paint a little bit of juice, a couple drops, one on the inside, one on each side. Okay, just let that sink into the coil. I've got the coil, it's juiced up. We're going to take this little cap piece here and always make sure the round part goes to the top and the part with the nubs seats inside of this little chamber. There we go. You can actually hear it click in. I don't know if you heard it or not, but I heard it. And now you have the coil. The coil's ready to go. So we'll put that off to the side for now. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to fill this little thing. Now you can see in this one the tube is very small. I'm using some Naked 100 salt, Green Blast in 35 milligram. It's a 50-50 blend, and I've already shaken it, so I'm just going to go ahead and drip it into the side here. Now don't get it in the middle tube. Don't get it in the middle tube, whatever you do, or else you'll get juice in your mouth. It'll act like a straw and just suck up all the juice, and it'll taste, maybe it'll taste good, but I doubt it will taste as good as you want it to. So as you can see, I filled the juice to a little bit underneath that tube. And the reason I did that is so that it doesn't get inside the tube. You don't want it to go in there, or else, like I said, you're drinking juice. So you're going to take your coil piece at this point and put it straight down in like that. And you're going to push it down, and you're going to see it's going to click into place. Let's turn it over. Okay. And we have juiced up that coil. I'll take a couple dry puffs and bubbles, just bubbles. That's what we want to see. You can go either way, it doesn't matter whether it's this way, whether it's this way. You just push it and it clicks in. Okay, and as you can see through the window, we have a full tank of juice. Let's go back up top and we'll talk a little bit more about this. I wanted to show you something really interesting that today I've been using this battery. It's probably about 5:45 right now. I'm using this battery, I've been using it all day, and I finally got something that I wanted to show you guys over the difference between this pod system and the MyBlu pod system I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. This one has a battery warning indicator light, so as you take a hit on it, you'll see that the light down there is blue. Okay, now I've got the other one I was vaping all day long, and that will fade. Still good vapor production, but you can see it's yellow. That will go from yellow to red before it dies. The flavor on this is really good. The vapor on this is really good. The battery life on this thing, about 8 hours, maybe a little longer if you're not chain vaping. Here's the thing, the draw is not as tight as the MyBlu Mark 10 pod system. So if you like a real tight draw, then that Mark 10 pod system is where it's at. But I like this draw being a little bit looser. It also has one other thing. It doesn't get juicy inside. There's no juice on this thing whatsoever. The downside, which all pod systems have, or all tanks have like this that are mouth to lung, is you will get a little condensation and you will get a little juice buildup on the tip here. It happens once in a while. You wipe it off. You can flick it out if you have to, if it gets that bad, which I really haven't had it do. I just like wipe it off and take another hit and it's fine. If you're looking for something that's low cost, it's very entry level, it's very convenient. I vape about less than a pod in a day, which I really like that. The flavor is bang on. I'm using nicotine salts in here. However, your mileage may vary. If you're looking to use these pod systems, I honestly gotta say, you can go to the link. I'll put the address down here since I can't link it on YouTube. YouTube's been a little weird about the linking system lately, and you are not allowed to link to like off sites where they sell things and whatever. It just is what it is. And to get around that, I'll go ahead and leave that link down here, and you guys can go check this out on Blu's website, they have a thing where you can get it for $1. Looking at the website, it says all day battery life, which I already discussed, about 10 hours max, I would say. Charges in 20 minutes. I say 20 to 25 on a 2-amp charger, half an hour to 35 minutes maybe on a 1.5 amp wall wart charger. If you want to buy these pods, it's $10 for 2, just like those Marlboro ones, but $10 every 2 days. I would rather just refill the pod, you know, rewick and refill the way I showed it to you. It'll save you money in the long run. Bottle of juice is 20 1.5 mil tanks. I'm guessing that's what the capacity is of this, is 1.5 mil, but there's no confirmed information on this. And that is for $1 right now on the website. Original price is $19.99, depending on where you get it, plus tax, blah, blah, blah. Shipping, I don't know if that's a thing on here, but they also have, it's called My Care, which when you look at it, it's a limited lifetime warranty. And they also have some other flavors here. Like I said, check that out. It's only $1, so you got $1 to lose. Can you spare a friggin' $1? If you can, and you like vaping pod systems, definitely get this. I'm gonna come out and say that I like this a lot more than I liked the Marlboro one. If you like a tight butthole draw, go ahead and pick up the Marlboro Mark 10. If not, if you want to spend $1 and try something cool, try this Blu pod. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. That's about all I got. I'll see you guys in the next one.